Welcome, guys. Greetings. I'm Anya from Higher Perspectives, and today I'm talking to you about Energy Update August 2026. You guys, this has been a crazy week. I hope your Ascension symptoms are not as bad as mine. I feel on top of menopause, I feel drained. That's the least I can say. I had so many headaches. I felt sleepless half the time, too hot, not only from hot flushes, but also, 36 degrees here in Germany. It's a crazy time. How are you feeling? Please let me know in the comments. Right away, we will start. This energy is so completely different, you guys. When I started channeling them, I really had trouble holding the energies. They were super difficult for me to hold. And this resulted in a really weird grammar. So please stick with me and take your time listening to this. I will detangle everything for you later after the channeling, and we will talk about zebras. We will talk about the dark night of the soul, colors of the months, and birds. August is a portal. This is what you need to know. And these very high and very fast vibrations you're still feeling at the end of July now. They're connected to the animal zebra, right? So these zebra energies, these wild horse energies, this will continue to linger for the first week of August. Very high vibration. Make some of you feel a bit dizzy and overstimulated. Want to move a lot. Trouble sleeping, trouble concentrating, feeling like you want to do multitasking. You cannot get yourself to focus on one thing and see it through, bring it to the end, but starting different threads, right, at the same time, and losing track of what you were originally planning to do. Just experience this very high vibration, right? It's a rush of energy surging through you. And get adjusted to these energies. All this is leading up to the second week of August. At the 12th of August, there is a height in energy. Surging, leaping, dipping into the portal itself. This, let's compare it to a black lake surface. It's like a hole, but the hole is filled with something. And we wish you to be open to dip into that black lake, that black hole. And don't be afraid, because it is a mirror. It is a surface like any black lake would be, where you recognize something, a deeper truth about yourself and others, which you couldn't have recognized earlier. Pretty much up until this moment. But it will be revealing to you now, then in August. And this, please listen carefully now. This will change your world individually and hopefully globally. Relationships will change in August, need to change in August. Let's stay with your relationship with yourself. Let's stick to that for a second. How you view yourself, how open and unashamedly you can view yourself, how you can relinquish any worry, any disgust, any regret, any nagging feeling about yourself. How well can you do that? Can you truly look into the deep dark mirror of your own soul and truly see through to the very bottom of it. And what do you see then? What do you see? You will realize the picture you have of yourself is a different one than the one that is truly there, the accumulation of your karma, the accumulation of your past doings, thoughts, of your history, energy trace, who you are in the end. And everything you've done in past lives has led you up to be this person now. And now it's time for you to take a deep and honest look at yourself and see yourself in every form. And some of you have different pictures of themselves, most of you actually, but it's not anything we wish to change. Just take an honest view and try to discover at least one more positive about yourself, and one thing maybe where you could improve, or where you were generously looking over things, right, about yourself. What would you point out in others that you were generously covering up in yourself? And what traits should you actually highlight in yourself to yourself? This then, when you come closer to the Black Lake, when you come closer to the 12th of August, the big portal, this will then change how honest you can view your relationships and where love is considered to be there. Please take an honest look. What is it that I love in the other one? Is it the thing that we've built, this web of connection that we have, of social interactions, of I do something for you, you do something for me in return, this is what I love? Or is it really the person you love? Who is this person actually? Is it an ideal that you have made up in your mind, or is it, can you see this person for real? So the Black Lake will reveal everything. At least you have the potential to see everything. But let's be honest, that is something that is not easy. It takes bravery of you and resilience of you to change the view you have about yourself, to see your person more fully, and to maybe adjust the view you have of your relationships to something that is more accurate. Then let's say you have come to the conclusion that your relationship is not what you thought it to be or wished it to be. It's not as honest, it is maybe not as deep, it is maybe not as loving. Please talk about these things, but take time to work through themselves first, and then decide, do I wish to continue this relationship as it is? Do I wish to end it or change it? Figure this out, please, people. Please figure this out, because it will affect how you work through conflict on a larger scale again, because you've come to know that what you do in your daily lives, or even with yourselves, even just looking at yourselves in the mirror in the morning, telling yourself, hey, you look good. Hey, I like you. That makes a difference. That makes a difference, because you're sending out a different vibration, not only to yourself and you are touching people, right? In passing them by throughout your day, touching these people, changing their lives, changing their vibration. by sending out a smile, a positive thought. You're doing this. Please realize how important you all are. In August, your consciousness about these things will and should reach higher awareness, higher consciousness. You should feel more building and not as passively in this play as you were maybe before up until now. Then in the second half of August, animals will play a different role to you, especially birds will have more recognition, and birds will play a different role to humanity very soon in, how should we say it actually? Birds will be things you want to study for different reasons. They will be interesting to your species. You will much appreciate birds from now on. But animals in general will receive wider recognition, not only as a food source, but also as a source of inspiration of survival on this planet and adaptation. And your relationship with animals will also change. Your relationship with your pets will change. August will be a big turnaround, a big turning point. As we said, birds will play a unique role on Earth from now on. And soon you will recognize them as very resilient beings to changes of your planet. Great communicators, you will look to them for discovering different ways of communication. Technology will be very interested in how birds travel and how they build communities. So please remember in August 2 things: relationship with yourself and others, recognizing the truth, the underlying truth, change perspective and widen, adjust and recognize different species on Earth have something to tell you. Animals will be more than they are to you right now. So, shared humanity will include other races, other species even. Broaden their perspective on relationships, starting August. Humanity is a real change of leveling up here, making close encounters and open contact more possible. Please don't only focus on the solar eclipse. Yes, it is an important date, it is an important portal, but energies start to weave in and out before or after. You have always the opportunity to review yourself or relationships, but right now these energies are much supported. Many more of you will pick up on this and decide to give it a go. Change communication, change their relationships. How they handle people, how they handle themselves, how they handle interaction, language. This is the foundation of your society. You're rebuilding it. And your earth will make leaps. The colors for the next month: black, like a black onyx, very dark violet. This was an interesting one for me personally. So, as I said, it was really hard for me to hold these kind of energies. They were so different and very, very high vibrational. They came in as a binary code, but not with one and zeros, but with twos and zeros. Really interesting. And I had to cut out a little sequence in the middle where they talked about me, the channel, not being able to hold these energies properly right now. So that was a bit lengthy and I cut it out. But apart from that, I think August will be so interesting. It will be a complete turnaround, they said. Uh, a shift of some kind, a portal. It sounds so ominous, really, and they rarely use these big words. They're usually a bit more grounded, a bit more toned down in these things. And yeah, so that made me really perk up and also noticed in myself these high vibrations, these high energies over the course of the last 2 weeks. Zebra energies. I was so in love with this. I personally love zebras, and they're not an animal I think often of, but it's a very distinct one for sure. And it's a horse, right? So they mentioned that these high vibrational zebra energies are with us for the next week and a half. So I looked it up as a spirit animal. What does the zebra represent? It was so interesting and eerily fitting to all of this, what they said. Representing, of course, duality and the divine masculine and feminine side, balancing out, also the boundaries between one and the other. So the self and your relationships. Excuse me. And also, they are wonderful survivors in the wild. So when they merge and live in the herd, or when they stick very closely together in front of a predator, they confuse the predator because they cannot distinguish one from the next, and they are not able to hunt them properly. Such a wonderful animal. I found it so cool, so peaceful yet so clever. Good survival strategy, I found it. But yeah, maybe good tips for you guys. If you look up a spirit animal or any hints you get from a channeling or inspiration, when you have an insight of some kind, a dream, whatever, don't just go on the internet and take the meaning you find. And don't limit yourself in that way. So please sit with this yourself and expand. So what else does come to your mind? What relationship do you have with this person? Yeah, personally, zebra or any other insight you get. How does it speak to you? And that might actually be what it really means for you. But interesting in general, they rarely give us animals for energy updates or animal energy. Then the lake and all what goes into this lake symbol, lake portal, the dark night of the soul, the really introspective moments with ourselves when we really look at ourselves very honestly. And maybe a good tip for everyone around it is I think people fall mainly, of course, this is an oversimplification, guys, bear with me, but mainly in two categories. Either you're very loving with other people and overly critical with yourself, and then you probably need to see yourself as who you really are, loving, kind, doing your best, and giving you credit for that. Or you fall into the other category and you're overly critical with others and very generous with yourself. And then you may need to adjust your view here. So be open for what comes up during this 12 portal or during this solar eclipse. I think it is on the 12th, actually. I'm not sure, but maybe it's, yeah, there's the 8-8 portal, of course, which is also very potent. But the 12 seems for me personally, after this channeling, to be even more important. And this will then react to your relationships around you. So if you see yourself in this additional aspect, so in the wholeness of you, or at least in a more whole version of yourself, you then can honestly evaluate and reevaluate your relationships. Is this really on par with who you want to be? Is this really helpful? And don't shy away from taking action. So this, of course, is an opportunity, right? So they said this can be done at any time in your life. And life will push you through these energies anyway. Even if you don't know, things will be shifting. However, you are invited to live a more active life and really co-create with this energy. So this is what can happen here. This is the invitation you get through an energy update. You're a bit ahead, you can plan and you can open yourself up to these energies and not just, being pushed through in a passive way, not being prepared in a way. So it's really a good invitation for you to take leaps and bounds. And this will affect, obviously, the world on a larger scale. And I think that is so difficult for us always to grasp because we do not feel the interconnectedness all the time. And then birds, you guys, birds. So this was also quite interesting. Our perception of birds will change, and our perception of the human race or a shared humanity will change and include more species and maybe help a bit more in finding equality in living beings around us, and in effect then maybe not see animals only as food source or something we can learn from for our own advancement, but really re-engaging with a spiritual being on a different level and include this into my compassionate outreach. So wonderful channeling. For me personally, a bit confusing because so many things, so many metaphorics were in it, but really cool. I love that this is such a dark undertone for all of this. So the black onyx and dark violet, cool colors for such a hot month. I don't know what weather you have in your country right now, but Germany is super hot and we think of everything else but darkness and black. So yeah, please let me know how you are. Next Friday, I'm going to be doing probably a surprise channeling. If you have any requests, guys, why not go ahead, send me a comment or send me a question you always wanted to ask. That's a good opportunity to have a question answered. If it is a more, if it is a question that is interesting for a more wider audience, all the better. If you wanted to book, I'm affected by the hack that's been mostly done on WordPress website. So my website will be down every now and then for repairing reasons, but you can book safely via my Calendly. This is a completely different booking page. They're not affected and you can do your bookings there. All right, I see you next Friday and I'm looking forward to it. Bye.